Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
Zara's spacecraft landed softly on the outskirts of a bustling city filled with vibrant colors and the sounds of life. The alien world outside was nothing like the muted grays of her home planet, where emotions were suppressed and individuality was rarely celebrated. Stepping out of her ship, she inhaled the intoxicating scents of Earth. Freshly baked bread, blooming flowers, and the strong aroma of street food wafting through the air. Her skin shimmered under the morning sun, a mix of iridescent greens and blues that turned heads wherever she went. Zara twirled in delight, marveling at the humans bustling about, their animated conversations filled with laughter and passion. She observed a group of children playing, their carefree spirits igniting a longing within her. It was as if an invisible thread tugged her heart, urging her to embrace this new experience. Today marked the beginning of her mission, to study the peculiarities of human culture. As a member of the Exiler race, Zara had been chosen for this endeavor due to her unique ability to perceive emotions through pheromones and scents. Emotions where she came from were carefully controlled, but this was the perfect opportunity to learn what it meant to feel freely, authentically. Zara wandered deeper into the city, drawn to the lively streets where vendors shouted out their wares. She halted at a booth selling exotic fruits, their colors vibrant against the gray backdrop of the city's pavement. Curiosity piqued. She reached for a ripe peach, feeling its warm skin under her fingers, a sensation utterly delightful. As she bit into it, the sweet juice dripped down her chin, and she felt a strange rush. The taste was more than just flavor. It was an explosion of emotion, a cascade of happiness. But Zara was too enraptured by this newfound sensation to notice a sign pointing towards a research lab nearby. As the persistent curiosity led her there, she felt a thrill building inside her, an inexplicable urge to explore even further, to understand Earth on a deeper level. Little did she know that her spontaneous journey would change everything. Zara approached the lab, her excitement bubbling over as she stepped through the sliding glass doors. The stark white walls contrasted sharply with the colorful chaos outside, but the room was filled with fascinating scents. Not just of clean components, but of something else, something enticing. Vials and containers filled with colorful liquids lined the shelves, shimmering with possibilities. Under the careful watch of scientists bustling around, she moved cautiously, peering curiously at the glass containers. Each vial seemed to hold the essence of emotion: happiness, sadness, longing, all captured in a brilliant hue. As Zara breathed in the various scents, she could almost feel the emotions wafting through the air, wrapping around her like a caress. In her intoxication, she didn't notice a lab assistant nearby adjusting a container on a high shelf. Suddenly, there was a crash. A glass vial fell to the floor, shattering, and the liquid within spilled out, releasing a powerful cloud of pheromone-laden mist. Zara, caught in her moment of intrigue, inhaled deeply without a second thought. The effect was instantaneous. A surge of warmth coursed through her body, unlike anything she had ever experienced. She felt her heart race and her senses heighten, overwhelmed by the myriad of emotions ignited within her. Zara realized she had ingested a human pheromone, one designed to attract others and stimulate desire. She stumbled backward, a mix of confusion and excitement swirling within her. Everyone in the lab had turned to stare at her, puzzled and fascinated by the stranger in their midst. But Zara's focus was elsewhere. The world around her exploded with color and sound, each person's scent weaving a tapestry of emotions. It was intoxicating, exhilarating, a rush of longing and connection that sent her mind spinning. As she gathered herself, the mist began to fade, but it left an imprint on her senses. Zara knew she had stumbled into something life-altering. The human experience was about to unfold in ways she couldn't yet comprehend. Still dizzy from the pheromone-induced euphoria, Zara's gaze settled on Jake, the lab assistant who had just walked in. His easy smile and casual demeanor lit up the room, causing a swell of unbidden attraction to bloom within her. Instinctively, she took a step toward him, unable to resist the pull of her newly heightened emotions. Can I help you?" Jake asked, clearly puzzled by Zara's sudden interest and the alluring energy she radiated. His eyes sparkled with curiosity, yet held a hint of caution as he watched her approach. "I'm Zara," she replied, her voice playful and melodic. "I just want to see what makes humans." Tick. There was an accent to her voice, soft and lilting, yet filled with an inquisitiveness that made Jake's heart flutter. Tick. Jake chuckled, leaning against a lab bench, intrigued. "Well, you've come to the right place, I guess. We're experimenting with pheromones here. You might find it revealing." Zara took another step closer, her heart pounding as she realized how intoxicating Jake smelled. An earthy scent combined with a hint of sweat and something uniquely him. The pheromone high warped her perceptions, amplifying her urges in a way that was completely alien to her. "So what do you do?" she asked, batting her eyelashes and leaning in ever so slightly, testing the waters of this new attraction she felt. "I analyze pheromones," Jake said, maintaining eye contact, intrigued by the mysterious woman standing before him. "But I'm guessing you didn't come here for a lecture on science, did you?" "Perhaps not," Zara replied with a mischievous grin, a hint of flirtation in her tone. "But how do you feel about hands? On research?" Jake's breath hitched at her words, and he couldn't help but laugh nervously. "Hands. On research. That's a new approach in the lab. I think it might get us fired." "Who says I mind getting fired?" Zara shot back, her smile radiant, feeling bolder by the second. The chemistry between them crackled in the air, a force of nature they both sensed but couldn't fully articulate. Their light-hearted banter was interrupted as other lab members looked on, eyebrows raised, caught off guard by the electric tension. But none sensed what was born from this encounter. A chance at something extraordinary. A collision of worlds that would soon unravel. The following days unfolded in delightful chaos. Zara and Jake found themselves thrown together in the lab, their playful exchanges fueling an undeniable connection. Each encounter was a curious blend of flirtatious banter and awkward miscommunications, leaving both of them breathless and eager for more. One afternoon they were tasked with sorting samples. Zara, gathering vials from the counter, didn't see Jake reach for the same one. Their hands brushed, sending a spark that cracked through the air between them. Zara froze, her breath hitching as she looked up into Jake's inviting eyes. Sorry. Didn't mean to invade your personal space?" Jake chuckled nervously, although his heart raced and his cheeks colored. "Your space?" Zara asked, cocking her head with a mischievous glint in her eye. "I didn't realize humans had such boundaries," Jake stammered, flustered. "Well, we do, kind of. Just letting you know." Moments like this became common, and though their interaction was light-hearted, Zara often misread Jake's cues. When he would lean in during conversations, her mind swirled with possibilities, and she willingly misinterpreted the actions in the most exhilarating ways. One day, while sampling a fizzing drink from the lab, she accidentally sprayed it all over Jake, soaking the front of his shirt. The fizz turned into a foam explosion, eliciting infectious laughter from them both. "Guess that's one way to break the ice," Jake said, wiping his face and trying to swallow his embarrassment. Zara couldn't help but marvel at how adorable he looked. Slightly disheveled, yet entirely charming. "Let me help you," Zara offered, stepping closer, her fingers brushing against the wet fabric of his shirt as she wiped it down gently. The air hung thick with tension. She could feel the heat rising between them like an unspoken promise. "What are you doing?" Jake asked, swallowing hard, increasingly aware of Zara's close proximity. Just getting to know you better, she winked, teasingly unaware of the awkwardness mounting in the air. Zara leaned in closer, her breath warm against his skin. Right, Jake stammered, stepping back as he felt his heart race. So, what's next on your agenda? Maybe some research on human flirting techniques? Zara grinned, genuinely intrigued. That sounds fascinating. But how do you know if the other person is interested? Their back and forth turned into a delightful game, one that blurred the lines between playful interaction, innocent misunderstanding, and an undeniable chemistry. Zara's inability to pick up on Jake's cues continued to stir a burgeoning attraction between them, leaving both excited and bewildered by the prospect of what lay ahead. The dynamics of their relationship began to shift as Zara and Jake's playful flirting grew bolder and more charged. One fateful day, they were alone in the lab, and the tension simmered as excitement coursed through the air. Their laughter echoed off the sterile walls as they experimented with a new pheromone blend. As Zara mixed the components, her body hummed with an electric thrill. The pheromones wafting through the room had a palpable effect on them both, heightening the desires they already felt. "What do you think we'll find with this one?" Zara asked, looking at Jake with wide-eyed curiosity. "Maybe we'll discover the secret to attraction," Jake replied, locking eyes with her, a smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. "You know, blend a little something special and see if it creates fireworks." Zara's heart raced at the suggestion, and for a moment, she considered their chemistry. Right then, they leaned in closer, their faces inches apart, a mixture of science and attraction creating a heady concoction. "Are you ready?" Jake asked, thoroughly captivated. Instinctively, they both inhaled deeply as the new pheromone cloud filled the room, its scent wrapping around them enticingly. Zara felt an immediate rush, seductive warmth flooding her senses, igniting a need to cross the invisible line that had held them back. She could feel her heart thrum in her chest and her skin tingle with awareness. "Wow, this one's powerful," she gasped, studying Jake's face, noting how the warmth reflected in his eyes. The air felt thick with tension, buzzing with electric anticipation. "Yeah," he murmured, trying to maintain focus. "But we should be careful. This blend could produce unexpected effects." Zara stepped closer, her curiosity getting the better of her. "Unexpected, like what kind of effects?" Jake hesitated, caught off guard by the intensity of her gaze. Sensing the shift, he searched for words, but the heat wrapping around them was undeniable. "Like, attraction? Physical attraction?" Zara's heart soared at his admission. "Interesting," she teased, tilting her head. "Why don't we test it?" Instead of pushing back, Jake was drawn to her magnetic energy, the thrill just too intoxicating to ignore. He reached out, brushing his fingers against her skin, igniting a spark that sent shivers down her spine. Their eyes locked, and for a fleeting moment the lab faded away, leaving only the raw chemistry between them. Lost in the exploration, Zara leaned in, her breath hitching as she inhaled more of the alluring pheromone-laden air. "Jake, I think we should explore this connection." Before either could think further, they leaned in, their lips mere inches apart, the world around them fading into background noise as they teetered on the brink of desire. Would they succumb to the undeniable attraction growing between them? Or would the challenge of societal norms pull them back? The thrill of that moment hung unspoken in the air, electrifying and potent. The world blurred around them as they lingered on the precipice, hearts racing in a synchrony that felt both eerie and thrilling. Jake's heart thudded in his chest, controlling his breathing as he searched Zara's eyes. "Wait, are we actually going to—" he began, but his words were drowned out by a rising tide of longing, a hunger that pulled them closer. Zara could feel the warmth radiating off him, an invitation she could no longer resist. "I think," she said breathlessly, "we've already discovered something profound. What's the harm in exploring it?" Her earnestness, combined with the pheromone high, made her voice a melody that tugged at Jake's heart. In a sudden rush, the need to understand this new world of emotions overwhelmed both of them. They leaned in, and without further hesitation, their lips touched. It was tentative at first, a sweet exploration that ignited a flame that spread through their veins. Zara's eyes fluttered shut as she savored the moment, the warmth amplifying everything within her. The kiss deepened, becoming more insistent, ignited by the fiery blend of alien warmth and human touch. As their mouths moved together, the room swirled around them, lost to the sensations coursing their bodies. Jake, feeling exhilarated by her boldness, hesitated only briefly before fully submerging himself in the kiss. He ran his fingers through her vibrant hair, feeling the alien texture beneath his fingertips. Zara responded with a soft sigh, an explosion of emotion bubbling to the surface. "Zara," Jake murmured between kisses, feeling his heartache not just for her beauty, but for the thrill of the unknown. The atmosphere was intoxicating, and the pheromones heightened their every ability to feel, experience, and crave. But as the kiss lingered, the reality of their situation crept in. Zara pulled back slightly, breathless, her cheeks flushed with desire. "Can we really just do this?" Jake's breath hitched in response. "Why not? This feels incredible." But as he spoke, doubt flickered in his eyes, and Zara caught it, sensing his hesitation. "Do you want to?" she asked softly, tension brewing again. "Yes, more than anything," he confessed, reaching for her hand. The warmth of her skin against his sent an electric charge through him, amplifying everything he felt. "Then let's not think about the consequences yet," Zara proposed, her gaze steady and fearless. Jake nodded, heart racing, emboldened by her confidence. They stepped over the line, uniting in a moment filled with dizzying passion, learning to express what they couldn't articulate in words. It was an exploration of their deepest instincts, blended with a sense of excitement that felt both empowering and recklessly audacious. Just as they spiraled deeper into their embrace, a loud crash echoed through the lab as the door flew open. Jake and Zara recoiled instantly, the moment shattered as Dr. Martin, Zara's supervising scientist, burst into the room, accompanied by several lab assistants working on unrelated projects. "What on earth?" "Doctor," Martin began, eyes wide in shock as he took in the scene. Jake stepped back, placing distance between them, his heart thundering in his chest as he struggled to regain composure. Zara's cheeks flushed with embarrassment. Was she in trouble? Had their curious exploration been found out? Before she could respond, Jake instinctively threw an arm in front of her protectively, trying to shield her from the awkward scrutiny of their peers. Shocked stares followed, and Zara felt her heart pound harder as the pheromone high continued to swirl within her. We were just," Jake stammered, struggling to find the right words and failing magnificently. "Well, it seems like you were doing more than just experimenting, Mr. Carter, Doctor," Martin said, his demeanor a mix of surprise and amusement. "I trust this involves proper research protocols." Light-hearted laughter bubbled up among the lab assistants, dispersing some of the tension in the air. Still, the embarrassment lingered, and Zara dipped her head slightly, caught between wanting to laugh and wanting to hide. "Right. Research protocols," Jake echoed, trying to play it off. He turned to Zara, who had regained her composure, determination glimmering in her eyes. She took a brave step forward, deciding to embrace this uproar. "Actually, Dr. Martin, we were testing the effects of pheromones on interpersonal emotions. Specifically our own, Zara declared boldly, her tone shifting from uncertain to proud. Doctor, Martin blinked, taken aback by her confidence. I see. And what did you conclude? Zara turned her attention back to Jake, who was staring at her in awe. That these pheromones create a unique interaction, full of unexpected emotions and attractions, she explained, feeling emboldened by what had just happened. And I think we're onto something special. The lab burst into excited chatter, and the air was thick with interest and intrigue. At that moment, Zara felt nothing but exhilaration and warmth, fueled by her powerful emotions and the realization of their connection. With humor and romance igniting all around, Jake finally relaxed. Well, maybe we should continue this research, right? He said, a playful smirk on his face. Zara grinned back, buoyed by his amusement. Yes, I think it's important to continue our exploration, don't you? Very important, Jake replied, and the laughter continued as they turned their attention back to the team. With the air lightened, they were given permission to explore their imaginations and desires, sharing in their experience with a celebratory sense of unity. As the laughter settled, Zara and Jake found themselves in the corner of the lab, the weight of their earlier interaction lingering in the air. Surrounded by hushed conversations among their colleagues, they stole glances at each other, excitement simmering just beneath the surface. Hey, Jake whispered, leaning closer, about what happened before. I didn't want to freak you out or anything. That was so unexpected. Zara smiled softly, feeling something profound shift within her. It wasn't freaky. It was exhilarating. I connected with a feeling I didn't know I could have. Jake's eyes widened in surprise, drawn to the sincerity twinkling in her gaze. You mean it? Because for me, it felt like something clicked. Something special. Zara nodded, her heart racing at his admission. You've made me feel things I thought were alien concepts. In my world, we don't express emotions outside of regulations. But because of you, I've begun to understand this beautiful chaos. Beautiful chaos, Jake repeated softly, mesmerized. He could feel his heart push against his chest, each beat echoing the raw intensity of emotions they shared. Zara stepped closer, urgency surging through her. I want to know more about you, about these emotions. What if I want more too? Jake challenged. Feeling the shift as their words became more earnest, the flirtation deepening into something firmly rooted, Zara took a deep breath, her heart pounding. Then we explore together. Yeah, but what happens when the pheromone effects wear off? What happens to us? His words were filled with uncertainty as he tried to grasp the enormity of their situation. I think this is more than just the pheromones, Zara admitted, attempting to convey the gravity of her feelings. I've never felt so alive, so curious, exploring the depths of emotion and connection. I've never felt this way about anyone either, Jake confessed, a budding confidence breaking through. But can we really pursue this? I mean, we're from entirely different worlds. Perhaps that makes it all the more fascinating, Zara replied, her eyes glinting with mischief. Different worlds can create something extraordinary, like a bridge that connects and transcends boundaries. Jake chuckled, enchanted by her perspective. Want to put that theory to the test? Maybe a date? Yes. Let's do it, Zara exclaimed, her excitement palpable. What's your idea of a perfect date? Jake thought for a moment, a smile creeping onto his face. A little bit of everything. An adventure, some food maybe, something spontaneous. Spontaneity sounds delightful. I'll find ways to make it unforgettable, Zara agreed, feeling alive at the thought of their upcoming adventure. They stepped out of the lab, hand in hand, diving into a journey of emotions and discovery that would lead them to uncharted territories, both personal and shared. The seed of something extraordinary had taken root. And with every exchange, they knew that this connection was just the beginning. A week of exploration passed in a sweet blur of moments, laughter and stolen kisses. Zara and Jake's relationship blossomed as they reveled in their differences, learning and growing together. Their days blended playful antics, deep conversations, and a growing intimacy that left both of them breathless. Yet, looming on the horizon was the reality of Zara's mission and her inevitable return to her home planet. During one quiet evening in the lab, Jake turned and faced her with an apprehensive look, the gravity of the past week weighing heavily on his heart. "Zara, we need to talk." The growth of their bond made her feel giddy even as her heart sank at his tone. "What about?" Coming closer, Jake took a breath, determination in his voice. "I love where this has taken us, but I don't want you to leave. I can't stop thinking about it." Zara's heart raced at his confession. "You're not pushing me to go back. You want me to stay?" Her expression was filled with hope and uncertainty, both eager and anxious to take the plunge. "Yeah," he confirmed. "I want to know everything about you, not just your culture or your scientific experiments, but you. Whatever this is between us, I can't imagine it just ending." Zara felt tears prick at her eyes. An unexpected rush of emotion filled her. "Jake, I care about you deeply. You've shown me a life I didn't know I was missing. But..." She hesitated, grappling with the weight of her decision. "I have obligations to my mission and my people." "I understand," Jake said, his voice steady. "But I didn't realize it was about duties they imposed on you and not what you truly want." Zara stepped forward, her heart aching. "I can't just abandon everything I've known. My life on XLR is structured, and following this path is what I was trained for. It makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you now? Think about what we've shared. We're something special," he urged, his voice growing tender. "And I need to know if you want to explore this with me." Zara's chest tightened with emotion as she met his gaze. "But would you be willing to understand my world?" "It's so different, Jake. I want to learn. I want to know about you," he insisted. "But I also want us. This, whatever this is." Tension hung in the air as Zara wrestled with her thoughts. Finally, she took a deep breath, her face lighting up with a smile that ignited hope within him. "You're right. You're right. We can find a way for me to stay, or even to come back. This is an adventure. We might not know how it'll work, but we can figure it out together." Jake grinned, a wave of relief washing over him. "Together. I like that. That's determined then," she exclaimed, reaching for his hands. "Let's explore this connection. Each emotion, each adventure, together." "Yes." With laughter escaping their lips, they embraced, sharing in the thrill of the unknown before them. They melted into each other's arms, ready to face challenges together, intertwining their destinies, emboldened by a love that transcended both worlds. In the days that followed, Zara and Jake infused their adventures with brimming excitement, exploring the fusion of their worlds. They ventured to eclectic markets, shared meals, and embraced the chaos of human life. The moments they spent together were filled with laughter, light, and an undercurrent of passionate exploration. On their most adventurous day yet, they ventured into the heart of the city, where street performers engaged crowds with mesmerizing acts. Zara laughed as she grasped Jake's hand, drawn into the spectacle of swirling colors and joyful voices. "Do you see that one?" She pointed at a fire breather. "Can you imagine doing something like that?" "I could never." "Neither could I," Jake chuckled, watching her genuine awe at the unusual sights. "But I can promise you an adventure of a different kind." With mischief in his eyes, he pulled her into a local ice cream shop, vibrant with swirling flavors. Zara eyed the color combinations with wonder. "What are all these options? I've never seen colors like this." "Just wait," he said as they navigated the menu together, picking odd combinations that had them giggling like children. They settled at a small table outside, and with every lick of ice cream, the connection between them deepened. "This is amazing," Zara exclaimed, tasting a peculiar blend of spicy chocolate mixed with tangy raspberry. "See? Who knew you'd love ice cream?" Jake said, his delight mirrored in her joy. As they continued their playful banter, Zara suddenly turned serious, her expression shifting. "Jake, I've been thinking about how different our worlds are. I'm going to need your help to keep this balance between my responsibilities and my heart. I want to share my life with you." "Of course," Jake replied earnestly. "I'm right here. Always. You're a part of my world now, and I want to see what that means. We'll figure everything out together." They leaned closer, wrapped in a cocoon of warmth and affection, aware that the future held endless possibilities. The bustling city became a backdrop to their dreams, aspirations, and emotions as they carved out a new beginning amidst the chaos. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in brilliant hues, they strolled hand in hand to a nearby park, aware of the promise in each soft glance exchanged. Zara's heart swelled with excitement, realizing her journey was far from over. She had discovered the thrill of love alongside the courage to embrace the unknown. "What if we make it a tradition?" she proposed, glancing sideways at Jake. "Each week, we sit down and share what we've learned from each other's worlds." "Absolutely. A new adventure each week," Jake replied, his grin widening. "What's life without a little exploration?" "Exactly." Zara beamed. The two shared nervous laughter filled with anticipation and determination. A bright horizon lay before them, a journey woven with laughter, passion, and the delight of discovering each other. With the promise of a future yet unwritten, they embraced, the warmth of their connection resonating in their hearts. No matter the challenges, they would navigate the path ahead together, ready to explore what it truly meant to intertwine their worlds forever.